Well, the news of those deaths come as the main Syrian opposition group makes its way to Geneva, where peace talks are being held to end the Syrian conflict. The High Negotiations Committee has been demanding that more humanitarian assistance be provided to besieged areas before they take part in political talks. Well, let's take a closer look now at who that group represents. Well, first, there's Jaish al-Islam. It's a coalition of armed groups that controls large parts of Damascus province. It was among the first to fight Daesh and is mainly backed by Saudi Arabia. Then there's Ahrar al-Sham. It's a group particularly strong in Aleppo and Idlib. It's supposed to be supported by Qatar and Turkey. Then there's the Free Syrian Army Southern Front. It's an alliance of more than 50 armed groups. It receives support from Western countries, including the United States. Then there's the YPG, the Nusra Front, and Daesh, who will not be represented at the talks, even though they're arguably the strongest fighting forces on the ground. Well, Simon McGregor-Wood has the very latest from Geneva, where the talks are now underway.
Well, we understand that the HNC delegation, the main opposition faction, a much larger delegation than originally expected, is now on its way to Geneva. It's expected to arrive at some point in the early evening, about 6 o'clock Geneva time. We do not expect them to go straight into meetings. The UN office of the Special Envoy, Mr. de Mistura, has told us that the first meeting will be on Sunday at the earliest, a preparatory meeting, to use their word, similar to the one that Mr. de Mistura had with the Syrian government on Friday afternoon here. And it won't be before Monday that the two delegations arrive in the Palais des Nations behind me and take up separate rooms, and for the so-called proximity process to begin in earnest. Now, clearly, given the news that's emerging from the besieged town of Madaya on Saturday, the humanitarian issue, the urgency that the HNC is demanding that these sieges be lifted, this was the holdout issue for them that prevented them from making a decision to come for so many days. That has been brought into even sharper relief with the announcement of these additional deaths today. They are making it quite clear that they're here not to talk about the nitty-gritty political issues, the transition, the elections, etc., etc. Initially, they only want to talk about the easing of the sieges and other significant and urgent humanitarian issues. We've been told by the UN that assurances given to the HNC were that there would be some movement on the ground with those sieges in the next 48 hours or so. So that'll be very interesting to see, because I think unless the HNC delegation sees evidence of some lifting of these sieges, it's very hard to see how these talks will really gain traction. And I think that issue, the humanitarian one, will dominate talks when they begin in earnest on Monday.